All I'm saying is that when I play Taboo, if
You're
there are any women on the other team, I am going to lose. They always win.
I concur.
They always win.
I've never played with you, but I believe that is true.
It's just amazing to me. Last night at the choir party, we played Pictionary, and my team lost. It was a rout. I stacked the deck. I tried to give us like 5 points for one thing, but then the other team somehow got it.
Yes,
party
I
games.
was on the other team that was actually winning until you came up with that very creative point system.
Right, and then you.
And then I got thrown up there to draw, which
one
no
did you
one seemed
have?
to notice that I wasn't volunteering to draw, and then they voluntold me.
Well, that's how
and it was
works.
awful. It was bad.
Who was it that went up there to draw a frog? I think it was Stan Huff.
Stan Huff.
And then he drew it, and then it was actually a good frog. It made sense to me, but nobody could guess it. And then he was like, "No," and he did this with his hands, and suddenly he frog. It's a frog.
Well,
and I said, how did you
because I think
doing
people
this?
were saying something frog or frog something, and he was thinking that they had to say like exactly the thing that it couldn't
I
be
thought
a
that the
version of
rule is if the word it comes out at all, you win.
That probably should have been clarified at the beginning. Because we ended up playing for
There
5 hours.
There weren't many rules. Yeah, that's one of my go-to jokes in the moment. Like, it's like 3-2, and we've been playing for 25 minutes.
Yes, lightning round. This one is worth 1,000 points.
Right, we're playing to 1,000, and this is the
Good
one
morning,
worth
Jeff
1,000
McGuckin.
points.
Just walk through the recap.
Jeff McGuckin's coming. Don't you understand? This is our studio. Here we are in the worship center today, everybody, for the.
Do you want to come and talk to us for a little bit?
Is the music program just coming?
The music program. Poor Jeff missed the music
What
program
music program?
this past week.
Are we doing
gonna
one
talk
this year?
We did. Yeah, we're already in Christmas party mode. Haven't you noticed?
Yes, by the way, I want something in the description on this, wherever it's posted, that there is a reason for this attire. Because people are just going to see this thumbnail and think, what is she wearing? What are they
Do
wearing?
we need to start talking a little bit about our Christmas sweaters? Is this a good time for that?
That's on the, if that helps your computers in front of your Christmas.
Sweet.
So yeah, today we're actually going to be for all of our friends that are volunteers in the creative department. We're taking a Christmas
Special
card
picture
special.
just for you.
Yes.
And this is probably just enough to really get you excited about checking your mail for the next couple weeks.
Yeah, it's tough. There's a lot of junk mail out there, a lot of commercialization of Christmas. I think I even said it on Sunday. One of my favorite tweets that I've seen recently was the guy just like, I just can't get over how they've just commercialized Black Friday. I thought
It used
that
to be
was,
such a holy day.
I
Yes.
That was so funny. And a couple people were like, yeah, that's a good point.
So I've never been a Black Friday shopper. Way too chaotic for me. Like literally, if they were giving very expensive things away, I would still not stand out in the cold or stand in line or fight people for it.
I'm with you.
But a lot of the stores started doing it like on Tuesday, Wednesday this year, which was amazing. I'm all about that.
Yeah. I remember my parents were big into the Black Friday thing for a while. And like I would watch, I was the oldest, and I would watch the rest of the kids, and my parents would be going at like 5 a.m. and they would get all like the doorbusters and that sort of thing.
It obviously pays off for some people. It's just, like I said.
I'm really not here for it. I mainly buy stuff online. I know that you guys have tuned in today to hear us talk about shopping and that sort of deal. We got to recap the music service yesterday, the Advent service. We're even here on the set. There's a lot that we should talk about with that. But you said you had an icebreaker. I love
do have
a
an
good
icebreaker.
Joanna Horseman icebreaker.
And
so
when you first got in, which let's be honest was just a couple minutes ago,
I'm not gonna hide that.
I just said pick the Santa Claus or Home Alone, and you said
The Santa Claus is what I said.
so. I have some questions for you.
Okay, all right. This is trivia related to the movie. I
Well,
assume?
yes, and this wasn't even one of the questions, but do you know what year it came out?
I thought it was 94.
Did you see that?
No.
You saw it on the screen.
I did not see it. I love this movie. I remember seeing it in the theater.
How old were you in '94?
I was 9 years old
make
in
the rest of us feel bad.
1994. I was 9 years old.
So crazy.
I remember it vividly.
All right.
Home Improvement was my favorite television show. Tim Allen,
What else do you remember from '94?
Well, I remember, I think it was either that year or the next year that The Lion King came out, and old Jonathan Taylor Thomas, who was so hot right now at that point, he was the voice, and it was also in Home Improvement, so. What
It was
else
a big
in
year for
94?
you. Very formative year, it sounds like.
Yeah, I was homeschooled at the time. There was a lot of time on my hands just to pay attention to things like this.
All right. So you should get all these right.
I certainly hope so.
Okay. What is Scott Calvin's job at the beginning of the movie?
He's a toy salesman, like a
That
marketer.
is exactly the wording.
Yeah.
Toy salesman. What is the name of the head elf at the North Pole?
Bernard.
Why must Scott take over the role of Santa Claus?
Because the other one fell off the roof. These are too easy so far.
Where do Scott and Charlie go after Scott burns the Christmas Eve
Denny's.
turkey?
I love that scene when they go to Denny's, and he's like, "Everybody loves Denny's. It's an American institution." And there's this huge party of Japanese businessmen.
He loves this movie, guys.
I love that movie.
Okay, what's the first obstacle Scott faces in the first house he visits on Christmas Eve?
Oh, the first house. I think it's a dog.
It's a large dog.
A large
We'll accept
dog, yeah, and
yes.
then the alarm goes off and that sort of thing.
What job does Charlie's stepfather have?
He's a psychiatrist.
Laura
Yes.
and Neil call the police because they think Scott has kidnapped Charlie, but in reality, where did Charlie go?
He went to the North Pole. He was working on a new and upgraded sleigh and fire retardant Santa suit. Jared, you remember all this, right? Jared, were you born in 1994?
I was born in 1997.
Okay. Jared was -3 when this movie came out.
So it has not impacted you as much as it has Kirkwood, would you say?
I hadn't changed my life yet.
Okay.
Okay.
What magical object did Bernard give Charlie?
A snow globe.
How did Scott get out of jail?
The ELFS squad came and used their magic tinsel to cut the jail bars and release Scott Calvin from
The
jail.
the ELF squad, and so who is that?
What does that stand for? They just call themselves elves with
They're just
attitude.
the elves, right? Okay.
ELFS.
Yes. And then last one, how many Santa Claus movies are there?
There are 3 theatrically released Santa Claus movies, and there's now a television series called The Santa Clauses.
Bonus points.
That's
not even on here.
It's on Disney Plus right now. I watched the first episode. It was a letdown.
100% A plus.
Thank you.
You got all of those right.
I got one.
Okay.
You got one?
What is the secret to the elves' hot chocolate recipe?
What is the secret to the elves' hot
Not
chocolate
too
recipe?
hot. Extra chocolate, shaken, not stirred.
Nice.
Okay, now, hey, another bonus question because we do have the numbers on this. How many times have you watched this movie?
That's a good question. You know, it's one of the. I've seen so many. I've seen pieces of it so many times. You know, when it's on TV. I feel like that's everybody. Like, I don't know how many times I've seen It's a Wonderful Life. I've probably watched It's a Wonderful Life from beginning to end maybe 2 times ever. But I've seen pieces of it 20, 25 times because it's on every Christmas. You know, and that's probably my all-time favorite.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, it's just so great. And at the end when they're singing Hark the Herald. Mary, it's so good to be back here. Is that a good? I need to
Does
work
he
on my
do more
Jimmy Stewart.
impressions when Pastor Mac's not on the recap?
No, Pastor. But
I
you-
feel like you do. I mean, it's entertaining. Don't get me wrong. I've just developed a theory as we've been sitting here.
Okay.
This is very scientific too.
I like-
So
okay.
do you want to pull your notes out on your phone?
Sure. Yeah. let me
I
take this
feel
down.
like the reason that guys maybe don't do as well with Taboo is because they have saved up so many movie lines in the recesses of their brain.
I
They just do
see.
not have the capacity.
I think.
Why do
that's
you guys
reasonable.
remember every movie from start to finish?
When you say you guys, I assume you're talking
I'm
about
talking
me
about
and Ken.
men.
Just
I am
men
talking
in
about
general.
men.
You don't remember lines from movies?
I mean, very rarely. Like, Ken gets super excited when I throw one out at him. He's like, hey, that's from a movie. I'm like, yeah. And I can usually say, I don't remember which one. I just remember it's one of those lines that you like.
My wife she'll bring out movie lines, but she'll way out of context. And one of them she'll ask me to do something, and then she'll be like, "And don't I deserve the best?" And I'm just like, that doesn't make sense because that's Gaston talking in Beauty and the Beast. We're way off the rails here. This is like...
So your wife tries to speak one of your love languages, and you, in turn...
Oh, I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it. It's beautifully out of context, you know, like the way that most people use Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through a scripture taken out of context.
Hey, let us know in the comments. Am I wrong? Because I really do feel like that is a majority of men.
That's a discussion
that just
worth having.
remember movie lines and use them in conversation with one another.
Well, so I'll test this theory because my wife, her whole thing is she remembers so many lines from songs. That's like her love language. Is that you? Do you remember songs? Is that your
For
thing?
sure, yeah.
This is interesting. Maybe this is actually a thing. Like the guys remember the movie lines and the women remember the songs. Jared, do you want to weigh in on this?
I'm a song. I memorize songs.
He's a song guy.
More so than
Okay.
movie?
Yeah.
I think that okay, so this is probably just anecdotal to us. This is
Well, I felt like what I had to
bias.
say was scientific, but I may have been wrong.
It was scientific, you know, it's just the,
In a manner of
the
speaking.
hypothesis. In a womaner of speaking, it was scientific. What else do we need to talk about today?
We're going to have to pay them because you didn't take your label off your bottle.
Oh, shoot, yeah, we're sorry to Great Value Purified Drinking Water, which came
Valleydale's
from the
water
springs.
choice.
The springs of a
We're trying really
tap
hard to
in New
get
York.
sponsors. We got off of that for a little while.
Yeah,
but
we need to get back to making money
great
the good old-
value.
the
If you're
good
interested,
old-fashioned way.
let us know.
Let us know as you go to Walmart
Large
and buy
viewership.
some for yourself.
Very large viewership here.
We had a big service yesterday, which we should probably talk about a little bit. It was this has been the struggle for years. What do we call this thing?
So I have consistently tried to call it the Advent Music Worship Service.
I think that makes the most sense. the
because
Advent
you
Music
have
Worship
been
Service.
very mindful from day one that this be a worship service and not some sort of like performance or
Not
concert.
a pageant, right?
Or a pageant.
Right. Is it a cantata? Did we decide that? I can't remember what the definition of a cantata. Yeah, Jared is still being over there conflating Italian terms with Spanish terms.
I think it would fit with the definition of cantata, right?
Okay.
So it's woven songs woven together with a series of scripture readings and written narrative.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe like a modern expression of the old format. It's always interesting because I'm always interested to see like how the spectrum of generations will respond to it. And yesterday it was old and young people giving really different comments and compliments on what they heard. I had one man, I don't recall his name, but he was like, I used to do this in churches back in the day. And he was like, I'm just so grateful that you guys are still doing this kind of thing. And I thought that was cool. And then a couple people that on the younger side said a similar thing, and they were just excited that we've kind of updated the format. You know, we're not trying to just do old stuff or just do new stuff. But the thing that I was the most excited about was how many people came up to me afterwards and were like, hey, we saw what you were trying to do. We saw that you were going for the entire gospel message from start to finish. And they were really impacted by that.
Yeah. I mean, I was impacted by it. So this is the first year I've ever been able to sit out in the congregation and experience it
Oh, wow.
from that perspective. So except for the little bit of time that I ran up there and did my song and came back
Right.
down. And
Which was
it
gorgeous,
was
of
beautiful.
course.
It was very worshipful. Thank you. Very worshipful. And I did want to give a shout out again, the new technology
sound
that we have in
system, the
place, the sound
cameras.
system and the mix, and wow, really,
Yeah,
really good.
We should talk a little bit of inside baseball with that. What were you going to say, Jared? Oh, yeah, good job. Yeah, good job to Josh Pike, our tech director. If you see him, give him a pat on the back, shake his hand.
Yeah, because he installed that sound system just this past Thursday, right?
Just,
From
yeah,
start
all
to finish.
in one. That was a multi-month operation, but as they say in what is it, Star Wars: Return of the Jedi, it's now fully operational. I did that just for you. Fully operational battle station. That wasn't a very good Emperor Palpatine.
I know.
I'm sorry.
There's a Star Wars line. I know.
You do? Which one is
When
it?
Princess Leia says "I love you," and Han Solo says "I know." I'm trying to speak your language.
That's great. Thank you for that. What were we talking about? Yeah, the sound system. The sound system is sounding great. We also got new cameras this past year, and we're gonna. I know Jared's gonna work on getting like the full resolution cut of the show put on YouTube today.
It's on.
It's already on.
It's private.
Oh wow. Okay, so we'll.
Wanna get copyright issues.
Yeah, we'll probably get copyright issues, but we'll send a link out probably maybe in the Wednesday news.
Sure,
You think that'll
I'll
be
do
good?
that. I'll do that.
So we'll send that out on Wednesday for anybody that wants to see it in its full HD glory.
So I did have, I thought something maybe interesting to talk about too, is I had some people, well, so Tommy was one. So Tommy Hart is our amazing worship admin, thank you.
Yes.
And she is fairly new to the team, and she told me the other day, I'd really, even though she's been in choir for years, did not fully understand what you and Luke and Pike and Jared and, you know, had to do and when you had to start to prepare. So tell us a little bit about your, like, even
Oh, okay.
where did the readings come from that Mike Kozlowski did such an amazing job
Yeah,
recording?
those were really
and,
good.
how did you choose the songs and weave them together?
Well, the good news is that this is like the fifth time that we've tried to do it in this format. So we divided it into 3 acts, which was the creation story, which includes the fall, and then you have the Christmas story, which is the coming of Christ, and then you have what I just called the gospel story, which is then his life, death, burial, resurrection, second coming. And once we were able to divide it into those 3 acts, it was really just a lot of listening. You know, I had some of the songs that we were going to use last year. Some of them were like, oh, I love this song, but I already have another song that functions this way in this show, so we're going to save this for next year. And then Jared, Jared really came on. When did you start? Was it July or something?
August 29th.
He started at
I
the
will
end.
always remember it because it is my wedding anniversary.
He started at the end of August, so he came in, and we already had most of the music. I think I had all of the music
Yes.
picked at
So
that
when
point.
did you start choosing music?
Well, it's kind of what Pastor Max says. Like, it's difficult for him to pinpoint when he starts working on a sermon because he always has all of these ideas.
Because you were thinking
around
about
his
this
head.
year, last year, probably.
Yeah, well, and I've
Yeah.
already put in a few things for 23. So, yeah, you work all year on it, and that makes it easier for when, you know, it's really time to lock the music because most of it's already there, and that's like spring or summer. So, but I really do need to shout out Jared because like he didn't come on staff till basically September, but he still was able to put a video with every single piece of music, which was really, really amazing work. So yeah, the music is there. You know, we purchase a lot of arrangements, and then we rearrange a lot of things and splice them together. And then the narration, I don't know. I've written this now like 4 different ways, so a lot of it is picking and choosing and rewriting. I was really trying to emphasize the light this year, so I rewrote a couple things for that. My favorite piece in the show was that video that started with the manger. That video is called Silence and Fury. I did not write that. I wish I could remember who did, but we found that. We found that online. That just is an immensely moving piece for me. So I'm already planning on using that again on Christmas Eve, just paired with a different piece of music. And
Yeah, and I had someone text and ask me if there was a recording of the full song, He Is Born, or Noel, He Is Born, and I found what I thought was it.
yeah, there's a couple different versions.
Okay, and sent that to them.
The original version was from Tommy.
That's the one I found. Yes.
Is it Tommy Prophet?
Yes.
Tommy Prophet's album, A King Is Born, or something like that. And he's a secular artist. It's a really, really, yeah, it's a really interesting album. This pop star, Stanaj, is the one that actually sings it. Yeah, I think he's from Iran or something like that. Incredible voice, but like the rest of his music, a lot of it is very explicit. I just think it's very, very interesting that that like this beautiful gospel-centered, and they don't change the lyrics. Like it's very gospel-centered music comes out of like these secular artists. It just made me wonder.
So a little disclaimer there. Don't let YouTube just keep throwing Tommy's
Yeah,
music
but
at
don't.
you.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
If you look that up.
I'm telling you the names because it's interesting to me, but it's the rest of their music is not really good. But I wasn't the only one to think it was good. Actually, like it was Bradley Knight that did the choral arrangement of that, and that's what we used, the Noel He Is Born. And yeah, we only did about half the song. We just did the really big part because I wanted to pair it with the other one. And then we had Ring the Bells, which that's a Travis Cottrell piece. Bradley Knight arranged that one too, and we split it into two. But on the 18th, we'll do the whole piece just all together. That'll be a lot of fun.
Early likes that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just pretty. It's just so joyful and proclaim it from the rooftops.
I think maybe my favorite moment was Amanda's song with the
Oh,
kiddos.
yeah.
Just a very, very sweet song, a sweet message. Just a sweet moment.
It
very
really
sweet.
was, and the kids sounded wonderful. So shout out to Lindsay Cruz and Michelle Magni for directing the children's choir. That was the most complex part that the children have ever had to learn because they had to do that descant at the end, and they taught that to the kids really, really well. So that's given me ideas for how we can continue to challenge them in the future. And I'm so glad that Amanda is here. Her husband David's job took them away from the state of Alabama for like 3 years, but I'm so glad she's
Glad they're
back
back,
and
yep.
giving her voice again. This is great being able to talk through this. I'm sure everybody but John Sistrunk has checked out at this point. So thank you, John, for continuing to watch.
Is John still on there?
But I got it. Well, John usually listens to it late at night on Mondays.
He deserves a shout out though.
Yeah, he really does. Friend of the show. Let's see, what else could we say about this? I tell you what I would love for people to do is go and listen to Andrew Peterson's God Rested. That was the one that Earl Salser performed yesterday. And the lyrics, the way that song is written is just brilliant to me. It's not big and happy like some of the other songs are, but the way that he rightfully equates Christ resting in the grave with God's resting on the seventh day is just fascinating and perfect. And you just see God's intentionality there, and that's why we chose to do it. But I know on the Sunday morning it can be here and gone so fast. So I would tell people to go back and listen to that, and then I'm trying to think if there was anything else.
Well, I know something else you were intentional about was the church's mission statement is generations helping our busy community
Yeah,
Christ live for Him, and we've done this in different forms in the past, but I had several people mention to me how nice it was to see such a representation of our demographics. So we had the very littles, and not just in the choir, but doing solo parts.
Yeah.
And then all the way up to, I don't know how old our oldest choir member is, and I wouldn't want to guess, but
I think it's Joe Sizemore. He's at least 75. So we had all the way up and down. The only ones that were a little bit left out were the preschool choir. But we'll have them open the service on the 11th. They get
their own service.
They get their
this
own
coming Sunday.
Service. But yeah, we love
We
it.
had students, and not just singing, but in the orchestra, and it was fun to see.
It really was. It's a high watermark for our creative department, and we're grateful that we get to do it. Thank you, Pastor Mac, for letting us do that. I know that it's. I made fun of him yesterday, so I feel a little bit bad.
I am sorry that he had to leave the country so that we can make this happen, but he seems to be enjoying himself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've established a fake email address from Kazakhstan, and so I'm telling him he needs to make a mission trip there next December, just so that we can have another. That's so silly. No, he's been here for the last 3 of them. I don't know why I'm making this into such a joke, but thank you, Pastor, for being willing to yield the pulpit that day. It's an immense encouragement to our church, and I feel encouraged. It's a great day. Hey, you guys, we're going to see you for normal midweek this week. There's no choir rehearsal, but every other midweek thing is proceeding as normal,
that
as
is
I
correct.
understand it.
Yes.
And hope to see you guys on our Sunday mornings for the remainder of the Christmas season, because the orchestra and choir will still be with us. We'll be doing more congregational music, but that's going to be a thrill for me. I love continuing to have the orchestra on stage.
And then the Christmas party.
The Christmas
A week
party.
from this Wednesday. Note on that, 2 notes actually. No meal is being served that night, but food trucks are going to be here.
Oh, that's cool.
And I've listed those on the website, and also I know in this coming up newsletter, if not the last one, but they are on the website if you want to look that up with the Christmas party. And Jamie is asking that you reserve a ticket. It's a free event,
Yeah.
but they buy lots of not just food, but materials for the activities we're going to do and things like
gingerbread
that.
nativity scene.
Yes, yes, and they just want to make sure that they use their resources well.
And then you and me are playing one-on-one Taboo on stage. Is that right?
Oh, wow, what a draw.
Would that work? I don't think that works. Because then we're both on the same team, kind of.
And
What a-
according
what
to
a
both of our
draw.
versions of Taboo, it would just be you staring at me blankly and then me yelling out the answers just one after one. We're going to make it happen, y'all.
Okay, next Monday, I guess will Pastor be back in town? Yeah, he's preaching this
I
Sunday.
really
He'll
hope
be
for our
back.
viewers' sake he'll be back.
Okay,
And then
you'll be with him, right? You're kicking me off.
Yes, it's just Pastor Mike and I are taking over. I do want to go ahead and throw out, though, the one service Sunday times.
Yeah, good point.
December 25th,
Which
that's
is
Christmas
Christmas
Day,
Day.
New Year's Day, January 1st. One family service, which means the whole family from
That's right.
itty bitty all the way up will be in the worship center together at 10 a.m. for worship service. That will be the only activity that's going on those Sunday mornings. And then our Christmas Eve services, December 23rd, 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
December 24th, 4
4
p.m.
p.m.
Same service, 2 different days and times.
Pick one.
For your convenience. Or attend both.
You can come to both. There's no one saying that you can't.
Kirkwood just said you can.
I'm giving the green light.
Okay.
All right, I think we've taken enough time. Hey, this was fun. Thanks for the
was.
Santa Claus thing.
Absolutely. I'm proud of you.
I wonder
You
if
did
I
so
could
well.
do the Home Alone one. Maybe we should do that. Do you want me to test you on the Home Alone one?
No, because I have not watched that movie.
You what?
I've,
You've never seen Home Alone before?
if I have, it's been a very, very long time. It's not one that I rewatch. The Christmas Story is our watch every year.
Oh, that's right.
And now,
That's
and
right.
now Elf also. We really enjoy that one.
That one is super fun.
But
You know-
but again, I'm not a guy, so I don't think that I could just like rattle off. Like I use my brain for different things,
you know,
like keeping kids alive. Things
the
like
thing
that.
about that's fair. And speaking of that, I'm sure you already understood this about Elf because it came out when your girls were really little. But Will Ferrell is just playing a 3-year-old the whole time.
Yes.
That's all he's doing.
Yes.
And of course, it's completely hilarious. But
Yes.
everything from the drinking the whole bottle of soda and just burping so loud to stretching out on the escalator are all things that my kids have done unprompted.
But it's just being done by a 6-foot whatever man he is. I saw him talk the other day too, or some little snippet somewhere where they were just shooting live on the streets of New York at some points, and so he is just walking around in those tights and that costume without people knowing really what was going on. That had to be amazing. But then again, it's New York.
It's New York.
There's probably somebody
you
in
don't
that
even-
outfit every day of the year.
You
at
don't.
some point.
You just don't look. Yeah, that's so funny.
We've talked enough. We must go.
Congrats, you guys!
We
It's
must
the
go.
best, the world's best coffee. You did it.
That's a line from a movie.
Which movie?
Elf.
So, Home Alone.
Can you kick? I'm afraid you're gonna knock the camera over.
Ah!
Oh gosh.
All right, cut transmission. I want to hear. I want to hear what the Home Alone questions are. Do you
Okay.
guys watch? What's your favorite Christmas movie, Jared?
Home Alone.
Is it really?
You said it was Elf.
I did?
Yeah.
That's Sarah's favorite Christmas movie.
You said that it was Elf.
Which one is it, young feller? There's a movie line for you.
I don't know.
That is Raising Arizona. It's Raising Arizona.
I've never seen that. I want to
It's
see
Raising
it. I haven't
Arizona
seen
when
it.
they're robbing the bank and the guy says, "Everybody freeze, get down on the ground." And the guy says, "Well, which one is it, young feller?"